Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back. Justin here as always. Thanks for stopping by and hanging out with me today. In today's video, we're going to be counting down my top 10 personal favorite Vinegar Syndrome releases. I already posted my top 20 overall Blu-ray and physical media releases of the year, including some really cool honorable mentions that actually feature some modern VHS tapes. So you don't want to miss that one. In that video, we talk about my favorite Arrow Video, Scream Factory, Severin, and some Vinegar Syndrome releases, all my favorites of 2021. But I still wanted to talk about a bunch of Vinegar Syndrome releases because I love the stuff they're putting out and I couldn't fit them into that top 20 obviously. So I decided to dedicate an entire video just to my top 10 Vinegar Syndrome releases, and we got some really good ones. I'll also quickly mention before I get into this top 10 Vinegar Syndrome release, I do have another channel, Movie Watch Daily, and up until this point I've posted all of my physical media content, my collecting content on this channel, but into the new year I wanted to start a brand new venture, a brand new channel that sort of shifts all of my collecting and physical media content in one place. I hope you guys will follow me on this new journey. If you're just now finding out, definitely check out my other channel. There's tons of movie reviews, movie news, trailer reactions, and I'm going to continue to post on both channels. But now I have a place for just my physical media and all of my nerdy collecting shit, and I can't wait to do that in the new year. I couldn't think of a better way to kick off this brand new channel with some top lists of 2021, so that's what we're here to do. Thank you for clicking, and let's get into my top 10 Vinegar Syndrome releases of 2021. Now to kick off this list, I have 3 honorable mentions, the first of which being 1986's Nightmare Weekend. A female scientist performs experiments on 3 college girls that turn them into drooling, murderous mutants. This is a UK and French production shot in Florida, directed by French hardcore porn director Henry Sala. It stars Dale Midkiff of the original Pet Sematary. Now Vinegar Syndrome already released this several years back, but they only this year reissued it with this amazing slipcover. So it's a fantastic release, such an oddity of a movie. Being that you have a French director, not everything translates quite right, sort of like a Troll 2 situation, but it's a great so bad it's good movie. Some good kills, lots of TNA, fun little oddity of a film with this weird little puppet. Not a lot of this movie makes a whole lot of sense, and to be honest with you, it doesn't need to. I highly recommend 1986's Nightmare Weekend. Coming up on our second honorable mention, that is 1981's Graduation Day. After a high school track runner named Laura suddenly dies from a heart attack after finishing a race, a killer wearing a sweatsuit and a fencing mask begins killing off her friends on the school track team one by one. This movie was also originally released by Vinegar Syndrome in 2014 with another reissued slipcover. Both of these slipcovers are really cool. This one has this reflective mirror-like finish right there. This one has this embossed finish on the front and back. It's a gorgeous release of a really fun, sort of forgotten slasher, and I'm really glad Vinegar Syndrome brought that one back. Our third and final honorable mention is the one and only Champagne and Bullets, aka Get Even. 2 cops are fired after being set up by their corporate boss, who gets appointed as judge but secretly heads a satanic cult. After his wife is killed by the cult, one of the cops is determined to bring the cult down. Now this movie really fits in the vanity project category from guys like Tommy Wiseau or Neil Breen, these guys who so desperately want to be the main character in their own movie that they just decide to make their own movie. John DeHart wrote, produced, directed, even performs music in the movie. It's completely incoherent. It stars a very drunk, very coked out Wings Hauser in this unhinged performance. He is clearly extremely inebriated and intoxicated during many scenes of this movie.
Number 1. You never say Alex again. Number 2, I've forgotten. Number 3, I like to kill you. I'd like to kill this asshole.
This one is a little bit more obscure and may not be for everybody, even in respect to a lot of these other Vinegar Syndrome titles. So I wanted to mention this one. It's an oddity of a film that needs to be seen to be believed. Apparently the director of this film is an active trial lawyer. I don't know if that's still true or if he still practices, but like I said, this was a self-financed vanity project that probably never should have worked at all, never should have been made, but not only was it made, it was given an incredible release from the guys over at Vinegar Syndrome, and I highly recommend checking it out.
Oh, you're on fire when I grab you by the hand. Your waist is moving with the rhythm of the band.
So to kick off the top 10 list, we're gonna start with number 10, 1992's Auntie Lee's Meat Pies. A devil-worshipping woman sends out her 4 beautiful nieces to lure men back to her place so they can be killed, ground up, and sold as meat pies. Starring Karen Black as Auntie Lee, the movie also stars Mr. Miyagi himself, Pat Morita, and Michael Berryman. This movie was directed by Joseph Robertson, who also directed a bunch of porn movies under the name Adele Robbins. And it's got some great kills, great performances, really low budget type quality, being that it was directed by a porn director. There's tons of fun TNA and B-movie goodness. I highly suggest checking out Auntie Lee's Meat Pies. Next up, the Televised Terror Set. This is an awesome box set of 3 sort of forgotten TV movies. The 3 movies included are 1978's Are You in the House Alone, which stars Dennis Quaid. We have 1984's Calendar Girl Murders, which stars Tom Skerritt and Sharon Stone. The third and final movie featured in the Televised Terror Set is 1990's Child in the Night, starring JoBeth Williams. It also stars Tom Skerritt and a young Elijah Wood. This is volume 1 in the set, with volume 2 to follow, I believe, in 2022. These are great movies that would have probably been forgotten had it not been for Vinegar Syndrome sort of resurrecting these. I believe this is still available on Vinegar Syndrome's site right now, but I would jump on it. This is one of those that'll definitely sell out. I didn't check on every single one of these on their website, so you'll just have to go and see if they're still available. I know there's a couple of these that are I think are sold out, but definitely check out volume 1 of Televised Terror. Next up at number 8 is another 3-movie box set, and that is Homegrown Horrors Volume 1. This set features 1981's Final Exam, 1989's Beyond Dream's Door, and 1992's Winter Beast, which is probably my favorite in the films. Like Televised Terror, these feature 3 films that some people will like more than others. They're sort of varying in quality, if I'm gonna be honest. A lot of people didn't care for Fatal Exam in this set. It is a little on the slower side. But what's cool about this set is this features movies that went direct to video stores that were filmed and produced way outside of the realm of Hollywood. So you have regional actors, regional locations. These were all shot on 8 or 16 millimeter film. The restorations look fantastic, as most of Vinegar Syndrome's restorations do. So, and volume 2 will be coming in 2022, so I look forward to that. That is number 8, Homegrown Horrors Volume 1. Next up on the list at number 7 is 1973's Flesh for Frankenstein. Baron Frankenstein creates 2 zombies, 1 male, 1 female, planning to mate them in order to create a master race. This movie stars Udo Kier as Baron Frankenstein, one of a few films produced by Andy Warhol back in the day. It was directed by Paul Morrissey, and another credited director is the one and only
Margarete.
Antonio Margarete. This movie is a true oddity. It's super weird. Udo Kier is fantastic in this role. What's cool about this release is we get the original movie, of course, Flesh for Frankenstein, in 4K for the first time. The restoration looks amazing, but also included is the 3D version of the movie. You get a true 3D version, which is only compatible with the 3D player, 3D TV, but you also get a 3D glasses version. Both include their own slip covers and this really cool slip box. Beautiful release from Vinegar Syndrome. This movie was also followed up by Blood for Frankenstein, which I believe Severin has released in 4K as well. It also stars Udo Kier, but that's number 7, Flesh for Frankenstein. Next up on the list at number 6 is 1989's Deadly Games, Dial Code Santa Claus. On Christmas Eve, a resourceful young boy has to defend himself and his grandfather from a killer dressed as Santa Claus. This is another movie released and remastered in 4K. This is a 4K release. This is a French subtitled film, just so you know. A lot of people, I don't know if this is true, but credit this as the inspiration for Home Alone. Consider this like Commando, Arnold Schwarzenegger's Commando, or Rambo mixed with Home Alone. That's basically what this is, an R-rated Home Alone. This kid's obsessed with action movies of the 1980s and 90s, and he sort of rigs this house and sets a bunch of traps for, like the description said, a killer Santa Claus that's trying to kill them in their house. It's super stylized. The restoration looks beautiful. You have a great soundtrack, good montages, good, sort of trap sequences as he rigs his house with all of these creative Home Alone style traps. It's directed by French director René Manzer, who is actually still active today. He just had a movie released in 2020, so very cool release. That's 1989's Deadly Games. Next up at number 5 is 1988's The Cellar. Cellar. A family moves into an old house in the Texas desert that is haunted by a Native American curse in the form of a ferocious creature that dwells underground. This movie was directed by Kevin Tenney, director of Night of the Demons and Witchboard. This is a really fun creature feature. It does have some slow moments, but when the creature actually comes into play and all of the creature action happens, it's so much fun. Great slipcover from Vinegar Syndrome. Kevin Tenney, sort of one of the more forgotten Kevin Tenney movies, and it's just a lot of fun. I highly recommend The Cellar. Next up at number 4, and that is 1989's Rush Week. A journalism student transfers to a new college where several female students begin to disappear under suspicious circumstances. She decides to investigate, which makes her the mysterious killer's prime target. This is a really stylish late 80s slasher with an amazing killer design. He has this axe, this really creepy looking mask, good kills. It does have its slow moments, but when it picks up, it's great. I actually heard about this originally from Pizowl. He reviewed this on his channel, so I went ahead and picked it up a while back, but really cool release. Really nice slipcover with an embossed cover, and that is 1989's Rush Week. Next up at number 3, and that is the Scanner Cop 1 and 2 box set. In 1994, Scanner Cop, a rookie cop with Los Angeles Police Department, is also a scanner. When a string of murders begins to decimate the police department, Sam faces sensory overload and possible insanity as he uses his power to hunt the man responsible for the killings. In 1995's Scanner Cop 2, a scanner cop tracks a renegade scanner who is building his power by siphoning the power of other weaker scanners. Both of these films are spin-offs of David Cronenberg's original Scanners, which also had a couple different sequels. The Scanner Cop movies are in a world of their own. They feature great practical effects. The movies are actually pretty well directed in my opinion, but the highlight here is just how bizarre they are. They have a lot of 90s charm, a lot of 90s cheesy special effects, but the practical effects in these are fantastic. Again, you get this really cool slip box with really cool artwork. You have artwork on the front and back of this, plus you get even more artwork on both of the slip covers for both of the movies. So you get tons of new artwork. The scans look fantastic. I definitely recommend picking this box set up before it sells out. Next up at number 2 is 2021's Censor. After viewing a strangely familiar video nasty, Enid, a film censor, sets out to solve the past mystery of her sister's disappearance, embarking on a quest that dissolves the line between fiction and reality. I did a full review on this on my other channel. This movie is absolutely brilliant. The movie was directed by Prano Bailey Bond. This is her first feature effort. This was based on a short film she did. This takes place during the 80s in the height of the video nasty era where they were censoring films and banning films, especially in the UK. This movie is absolutely wild. I give it a top recommendation to check out. I'll link my review for it down below. Comes with a really cool side-loading slip box, again with tons of great artwork. Each side of this slip cover in here features one of the fictional films within the film. For a fan of 80s slashers and super grimy sort of grindhouse films, and anybody who's familiar with the era of video nasties in the UK will really get a kick out of this one. Originally it was supposed to be a 4K release. I'm not quite sure what happened with the 4K aspect of this, but in my opinion, being that it's a grainy sort of shot on film looking movie, I think the standard resolution serves this great. But Second Sight also did release this, but I prefer the Vinegar Syndrome release, and that is 2021's Censor. Next up in the number 1 slot, my favorite Vinegar Syndrome release of the entire year is 1993's Ticks in 4K. A group of troubled teenagers are led by social workers on a California wilderness retreat, not knowing that the woods they are camping in have become infested by mutated, blood-sucking ticks. This movie stars Seth Green, Alfonso Ribeiro, Amy Dolans, who I always remember from Miracle Beach, and I think she was in a bunch of stuff, but she's one of my favorite 90s actors. In 4K, no less. So this movie was out of print for so long, you couldn't find it for a decent price to save your life, oftentimes going for $80, $90, $100 or more on eBay. But now we got it in 4K, in another side-loading slip box with gorgeous artwork, really cool slip cover. This is sort of similar to the original artwork of the VHS and DVD. I cannot believe we got this from Vinegar Syndrome in 4K, and that takes the number 1 spot. So guys, that is it. That is my top 10 Vinegar Syndrome releases of 2021. Be sure to let me know in the comments down below what your favorite Vinegar Syndrome releases are. Look forward to tons more physical media and collecting content moving forward in 22. Be on the lookout for tons more physical media and collecting content in 2022. It's going to be fun doing this new venture and this new channel, so please subscribe. Thanks for stopping by, and I'll see you in the next one. Later.